Being a poet to me means that you look at life differently. You stop and, as corny as it may sound, you smell the flowers, you enjoy your food, you savor a hug, you listen to the person that you love laugh a little differently. I used to watch my mother slow dance by herself in the living room when I should have been sleeping. She taught me that longing meant survival, that school could wait, that boys could not. I would say that writing has saved my life. I've been through quite a bit in my life. I've been homeless. My mom was a single mother, and I watched her in and out of abusive relationships. So I feel like without those things, without having the tools to be able to write out my pain and what I've seen and gone through, I wouldn't be sitting here. She would give me these lessons on romance, and they would always be the same. Trust no man. Late at night, she would play her favorite love songs, and she'd pause the record player and have me write the lyrics down so she could seal them in an envelope to her distant lover. A reason to listen is there's a small group of us. Therese Fitzmaurice and I have been working together since I was in high school, and we've been performing on and off for 14 years. We met, she was my student teacher, and she was my student teacher in my theater arts class, and her and I immediately connected. So we started performing together. We've written several pieces together, published one book, Excavating the History of Love, and we took Jeremiah Anderson in. There used to be an open mic in Arcata at John Goodman Winery, and he was doing that for a while, and then we just sort of adopted him, so it's the three of us that are in a reason to listen. Sometimes sweet words won't even be whispered. And a good man, my mom always said a good man would be married already. A good man will work all day long and let me remove his boots and let me kiss his hands for not hurting me. I feel like our open mic is really special. We've been doing it for 12 years. We've taken teams to nationals. We've gone to IWEPS before, which is the Individual World Poetry Slam. We've sent a rep to Women of the World, but we've kind of pulled away from the competition and the slam part of it because that's not really what our community wants so much. So now it feels like the purpose of our monthly open mic is to just be a supportive place of expression. We have a good time. We laugh, and we've got a DJ that I've been friends with, DJ Goldilocks, since I was in 4th grade, and he's been doing it with us for a really long time. And then every month we have a live artist that we like to feature that will paint behind the performers. So it's special.
Please don't take him just because you can.
But it is her face that is still carved on his arm. It is her name. So we started at the Axton Gallery, which was in Eureka on C Street, and that was always so much fire. It was a big art gallery, and we have kind of always fluctuated with the audience that we've had. Like I think in the beginning we had more of a college crowd, and then now it's all ages. We've got some people that'll come that are 69 years old, 69 and proud, and we have some people that'll come that are like 10 years old and read for the first time. And I feel like throughout the years we've definitely built up our reputation in the community for being incredibly supportive, and now we are able to hear all different voices. And that's really the heart of a reason to listen, is we say that every voice is a reason to listen. And that's kind of the heart of what we do.
Please don't take my man.
So we were on a poetry slam team together called Life Sentence Poetry Slam Team out of Fairfield, California. And it was like a team that was put together last minute to go to nationals. And I had a poem that I had written about tutoring a student who had seen his uncle murdered in front of him maybe 6 months before I began tutoring with him. And I wrote a poem about that, trying to understand what that situation was like from a teacher's perspective, how you can work with a student like that, you know, how to understand the things that student is saying and apply them to what is being taught. When we made the Poetry Slam team, Dre was like, yo, that poem you got about that kid, we need to make that into a duet poem because I experienced the same shit. Is that mostly how it went down?
Yeah, I witnessed my first murder when I was like 8 or 9. So I completely identified with that kid. So I was like, dude, I need to be a part of that. We need to make that into a group piece.
Make me do this math problem.
And then he slams his head against the table. And he looks up at me and he says,
It's fun. You should try it.
I realize working with 10-year-olds is a lot more complex than most people think, especially when the student in front of you has seen things that make him walk like he's 30, things that wrinkle his hands so each rivet holds a story, things most people will only see in the movies. This student will not pull to the surface these things he's seen.
Not right now.
Not with me. You will never tell me.
About the murder.
And I wonder
How a 4th grade mind records things that soldiers are trained for.
Risk it for the biscuit.
Yes.
Ain't no biscuit if you don't risk it.
I would say also that the world wants us to think, or our society wants us to think, that we are isolated individuals, pulling ourselves up by the bootstraps to make whatever life we can for ourselves. And I would say that's only part true. The other part is that we are surrounded by an infinite world of diversity and difference, and that we should learn the stories that each of us have to say and not get so encapsulated by our own stories, but share those stories and listen to everyone else's. We'll find out none of us are really alone.
His bad days
Are not like theirs.
but somehow
When his teacher harps on him about homework,
he doesn't have much to say.
I guess those math problems just don't measure up as something to worry about. He doesn't care much for personal status.
But he does take so much pleasure in getting those bright gold stars that go next to the list of names of people who share his table.
when he dragged me into his class to show me this gold star, he says,
See, Patrick, that was because of me.
but I feel him saying,
See, I belong. They appreciate me, this I understand. But what I don't understand is an outstretched arm barely grazing the back of a head. I don't understand the sound of a bullet. I don't understand the sound of blood on the concrete. I don't understand why the body fell. But I do understand that more gold stars means more candy and smiles for the kids at my table.
when I come into his classroom and I see this circle of smiling faces, I know he has found a place where he belongs, no longer a stranger amongst his peers.
Having to be haunted by the murder all of my life.
And I know that one day he will have to talk about it.
One day, slamming his head against the table will no longer work to shake those pictures loose.
And when that day comes and those stories begin to fly from his mouth
Like feathers falling from the sky.
I have a feeling that someone will be there to catch them. The first time that I sat to tutor with him, his principal said to me,
Be so gentle with this one. Make sure you don't push him too hard.
why is it that the rougher we have been treated,
Then the more tender we can be. Maybe with a rock-hard shell to protect him from those bullets, he has realized how soft he is underneath, just wanting to be another kid.
At dawn, you whispered into my ear, soft and sensual. tell me what you want. I don't know, I responded meekly. What I really want. Pleasure was a doorway marked forbidden. A castle named Never Never Land. A happily ever ending that I never saw unfold. Happiness was all about beginnings, and we are well into the middle of our tale. And he tells me, you must ask for what you really want. I want to feel the morning dew upon my bare feet in wild meadows, blooming. I want to be led on the dance floor by elegance and grace. I want to see divinity in your eyes. I want to choose to love madly. I want to stand in the center of drums spiraled in a sacred offering. I want to weave together sacred spaces from a pulpit built on the back of beats, stand upon poem-lined planks. I want to be beauty, to experience harmony, to vibrate at the same frequency with a congregation of creativity. I want to be an elder who speaks wisdom, who ages like fine wine and is revered for the intoxicating value of her presence. I want to savor family time, raise children who love to come home. I want to do the good work of seeing each of them deeply, holding up the beauty that is unfolding inside. I want to ameliorate motherhood back to the sacred work it has always been. I want to welcome fathers to be mothers, mothers to be fathers until there is no difference between those roles. I want to be that soft song that calls parents into presence, to remind them what they already know, that children, that people need each other to simply be present, to be seen. I want to breathe fully from the bottom of my belly, wholeheartedly, naturally, with my whole being. I want to be surrounded by all of you, creative beings of love light, who know the power they possess, who shower their gifts and delight in the revolutionary task of being yourself. I want to remember the miracle of every day, and I want to dip my feet in the river and pray to these ancient waters. I want to cease wanting and just remember how to live. Thank you.
Word Humboldt has started back in September 2017 at Northtown Coffee, and it's grown tremendously since then into something really important and big. I started with Northtown Coffee, and they asked me to come. Like, I had just moved here from the East Coast, and I'd been part of creating, like, in spaces like City Soul Cafe and also Part Veritas on the East Coast, and like I wanted to create something like that out here and have that consistency of having a space to go every week to express yourself. And it's more than just poetry, it's the community and the people that you see every week that's what's important about it.
6 years ago, like, I was hospitalized because I tried to kill myself, and like, I went through a lot of mental health things that I deal with, and like, since I was young, like, this poem took me 6 years to write to finally be able to like say this in front of people. Yeah, this is my poem. It's called "They Will Come Back to You." There are always birds flying away in Eureka. They are always leaving in constant movement so that they never forget that they can fly. I try to be in constant movement when gravity feels too heavy, when my thoughts are a hurricane and steady movement is my levee. I've learned through 10 years of battling back the urge to die a few ways to teach yourself to love again. To feel the weightlessness of flying, to roar again, to be lion. Do not give up on the verge of your greatness.
One day, this guy that I've never seen before did an amazing poem. I was like, I gotta know who that is. Like, do they live here? Are they gonna leave? And it was Dylan, and I met Dylan, and he was super friendly. And then, like, maybe a few weeks later, I went to check in at Northtown because they used to have poetry on Tuesday nights, but it hadn't been for a while. And now there was like something going there again, and Dylan was running it. He was emceeing, and it was a home too, just like a reason to listen. Only I could go every Tuesday instead of once a month. And I was just super appreciative and impressed on how on it Dylan was. I could see him talking to people, introducing himself to people, just like building community naturally. And he seemed to have a lot of initiative, and so I knew that I respected him a lot, and I was just laying low. I did poems a couple times, and then I think after a couple months, I went up to him and I said, the work that you're doing is so important to me. This is a home, and I believe that if you have a home, you contribute to it, so what can I do to help here?
Channel the sweet tea serenade in my heart, channel the proudest.
I always wrote poetry in middle school and high school. I never shared it until it was like 10 years ago. I went to my first open mic. It was Andrea Gibson was the feature. But yeah, then I just kept going every week. I was terrible at first for like 2 years. Like I was but I kept going and did slams. And after a while, after I got divorced and like I lost my son, this was like a place, because back home was like every Wednesday, and before that was every Tuesday. It's just a place for you to go, even no matter what's going on. It's somewhere like a group of people that are still there no matter what's going on. And so it was the words, but it was also the communities that were behind the words, and so it helped me through a lot.
Like birds flying away in constant movement, they will make their way back. You will make your way back. Thank you.
I didn't come in with a vision at all. This last half year has been the hardest half year of my very young life. I'm only 24 years old, but it really seemed like the world was ending for a bit. And being presented as someone on the Word Humboldt team, I realized that people were listening to me. But you'd think, of course, you're performing, people are listening to you. But I didn't really notice that people were really listening to me, and that was kind of scary. Actually, I realized that I have accountability for what I'm saying, what I'm feeling, if I'm listening to other people, and whether I knew it or not, I was building connections with everyone in the room every Tuesday night, and they were being connected to me too. And so I'm still adjusting to what that means for me. That people are seeing me and I have an opportunity to see them. But it makes sense because vulnerability and authenticity have always been really important to me.
I wrote this piece called No Man's Land because that's where I feel like I live sometimes. Welcome to No Man's Land, a place where people lack character. We use trickery, oh so clever. Smiling faces are nothing more than a disguise. Their actions aren't matching up to their lies. Protect your frequency now, because I'll sure be protecting mine. Now grab a seat, hop on inside. Let me take you on this ride where all sorts of wild thrills reside. But it's just a roller coaster going through my mind. Now work with me as I improvise, as I attempt to advise. Give you the few thoughts that pry open these sleepy eyes, and the visions that make me cry and cringe. Had me abusing drugs on a binge, and I was addicted. Sign off the prescription, I need a shrink to listen. There's a few bolts up here missing. I was barking up the wrong tree, I see. But I never imagined a peace of mind would come with a fee.
How did I become a member of the team? Well, I was going through a rough time in my life. I was just going through a rough financial situation, and I felt like I wasn't getting treated fairly at my job, so I quit my job and I said I wanted to do poetry.
Like the words I heard from my reverend, you will be steadily tested. But now I'm sitting here regretting a few things that I ingested. Wasted all my investments, I'm actually a free man. I decided to freelance and use my hands. I came up with a plan that's more vivid than in 2020. So when I close my eyes, these words just keep flowing. And even in no man's land, I know where I'm going. Blindfold me and watch me move with precision. Direct perception of my intuition. See, I had to make a decision. I cried for help, but of course they didn't listen. But my enemy was me. and it took a while to figure out. Self-abuse of drugs, I had to chill out. Went to investigation what my resentment was about. And without a doubt, I felt like a clown. No more smiles, just frowns. For now, at least that's what I'm hoping. On the edge coasting, somewhere fearing loathing, spreading love in my hate to go down. Thank you.
So I had seen, Alex and Rashad getting up there and being announced and being a part of Word Humboldt, and I was like, not exactly sure what that meant. What is Word Humboldt? What's being a part of this even mean? And I didn't actually have any aspirations to be a part of Word Humboldt at first. I was just happy to be there, and then we became like good friends. And they just are beautiful people, and I ended up going to Oakland with them and participating, or like kind of being their cheerleader while they were in a slam. And by that, I kind of started writing, and then it sort of started getting brought up, like, well, what are you doing? You pretty much are a part of the team. You're here with us. You've been coming on Tuesdays. And I'm like, can I be a part of it? Am I a part of it? And so it kind of happened organically, I guess. So I felt really honored that it was even open to that.
A handgun is a machine, moving, interlocking parts, analog. The barrel and sight resemble the modern electric symbol for power. It is a marriage of 1 and 0. A gun is binary. Bullet 1, barrel 0. A gun is power. Suicide is binary. A noose is digital. A 1, straight rope, and a 0, loop knot. Suicide is a switch. On, off, day in, day out. Ian Curtis was analog. A spun gun cylinder is a random number generator. A freely lived life is analog. A fishnet is digital. The Zodiac Killer signify themselves with a crosshair symbol. A mandala carving a 0 with a series of 1s. The Zodiac was a switch. A halo is a 0 floating above a 1. Angels are digital, servants to a program. Humans carved from angels 2.0. Mankind is a glitch. DNA is analog. God is binary. A guillotine frame is a 1 and a 0. The blade a relay. Execution is digital. A surveyor's compass is binary. Crosshatch. A vacant lot is analog. A sailor's compass is a 1 and a 0. Maps are a random number generator. Magnets are analog. Death is death. Off. A gun is a switch. A noose is a relay. God speaks disaster. A hurricane is power. An earthquake, analog. Lightning is power. Electricity, digital. AC/DC, digital. Reproduction is binary. Error. Trans is analog. Church, digital. Prayer, analog. Murder, binary. Flesh war is 011101110010101. Humans are strong code. On off, day in, day out. We are moving, interlocking parts or open mouths, a 0. Body, mind, heart, 1. We are a circuit. Thank you very much, Word Humboldt!
I love it that you're healthy and the ways that you care, stopping to breathe and to notice the air. Your body is a temple and it smells so fragrant and good. The glow of your skin brings out my rose-colored mood. Your eyes see mine and they light like a flame. Your touch makes it hard to keep my drummer tame. You could call yourself a hippie and wear clothing that's trippy. You could drink only juice and eat food that's only raw. But deep down, it takes much more for me to drop my jaw. It's that clean earth logic, the awareness of the dark, the willingness to converse on racism or art. Do you play music? Well, gee, that'd be swell. But as long as you support it, I'll take to you well. And what do you do with the time in your day? Do you give back to the world in some form or some way? We're not here forever, but our mark can remain. I'm not doing my part for the glory or fame. Simply to know that I'm helping the children of tomorrow wholeheartedly grow gives me peace of mind wherever I go. I know you have suffered, but please, don't hold me back. I'm here to give love, and it's as simple as that.
Trapped between obligation and mental illness, itchy throughout. Getting better is measured in tiny details. Fall apart, refuses to conform. Lose it all, or leak until there's nothing left.
I lay awake at night and write a tune to the brightest moon. A cylindrical twinkle glow glimpse in a single pole. Drink a whole fifth, but it ain't the liquor Let me just paint the picture. What a tempting temptress. I dreamt of an adept attempting to tempt her temper with the tempest like sentence tempering temperatures tempting my temperance temperers never severing a veteran's better thing preemptiveness endeavoring. Foresight for 4 fortnights, pouring rain clouds of sober notions, coasting over oceans, knowing Nova Scotian spokesmen, the boats, the quotes in, ancestors, littering the trade winds with bitter reiterations. I wanna send a few flowers, I wanna spend a few hours when I lay awake at night and write a tune to the brightest moon.
I believe that everyone has the potential to be a poet, and I believe that everyone has a story to tell. And I would like to invite this community to tell their story and to write what's in their heart, because I think it's about sharing and being vulnerable, and I think it's a powerful thing to do when you consider the legacy that you leave in your community.